I cannot live without book. Do you want to know who you are? Don't ask. Act. Action will delineate and define you. I predict future happiness for Americans, if they can prevent the government from wasting the labors of the people under the pretense of taking care of them. Honesty is the first chapter of the book Wisdom. The man who reads nothing at all is better educated than the man who reads nothing but newspapers. On matters of style, swim with the current; on matters of principle, stand like a rock. The most valuable of all talents is that of never using two words when one will do. I'm a greater believer in luck, and I find the harder I work the more I have of it. We in America do not have government by the majority. We have government by the majority who participate. I would rather be exposed to the inconveniences attending too much liberty than to those attending too small a degree of it. Our civil rights have no dependence on our religious opinions any more than our opinions in physics or geometry. History, in general, only informs us what bad government is. Nothing gives one person so much advantage over another as to remain always cool and unruffled under all circumstances. If a nation expects to be ignorant and free, in a state of civilization, it expects what never was and never will be. The whole art of government consists in the art of being honest. There is nothing more unequal than the equal treatment of unequal people. All should be laid open to you without reserve, for there is not a truth existing which I fear, or would wish unknown to the whole world. If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. Never put off to tomorrow what you can do today. Never trouble another with what you can do yourself. Never spend your money before you have it. Never buy a thing you do not want, because it is cheap; it will be dear to you. Take care of your cents; dollars will take care of themselves. Pride costs us more than hunger, thirst and cold. We never repent of having eat too little. Nothing is troublesome that one does willingly. How much pain have cost us the evils which have never happened. Take things always by their smooth handle. Think as you please, and so let others, and you will have no disputes. When angry, count 10. Before you speak, if very angry, 100. Timid men prefer the calm of despotism to the tempestuous sea of liberty. The equal rights of man, and the happiness of every individual, are now acknowledged to be the only legitimate objects of government. I think one travels more usefully when they travel alone, because they reflect more. Do not bite at the bait of pleasure till you know there is no hook beneath it. I was bold in the pursuit of knowledge, never fearing to follow truth and reason to whatever results they led. To compel a man to furnish funds for the propagation of ideas he disbelieves and abhors is sinful and tyrannical. Tyranny is defined as that which is legal for the government but illegal for the citizenry. I like the dreams of the future better than the history of the past. How little do my countrymen know what precious blessings they are in possession of, and which no other people on earth enjoy. When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. Every day is lost in which we do not learn something useful. Man has no nobler or more valuable possession than time. I never considered a difference of opinion in politics, in religion, in philosophy, as cause for withdrawing from a friend. The will of the people is the only legitimate foundation of any government, and to protect its free expression should be our first object. Our liberty depends on the freedom of the press, and that cannot be limited without being lost. I hold it that a little rebellion now and then is a good thing, and as necessary in the political world as storms in the physical. Peace, commerce, and honest friendship with all nations, entangling alliances with none. I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. Be polite to all, but intimate with few. The natural progress of things is for liberty to yield, and government to gain ground. He who knows nothing is closer to the truth than he whose mind is filled with falsehoods and errors. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. He who permits himself to tell a lie once, finds it much easier to do it the second time. Enlighten the people generally, and tyranny and oppressions of the body and mind will vanish like evil spirits at the dawn of day. The only security of all is in a free press. I have no ambition to govern men, it is a painful and thankless office. Those who expect to be both ignorant and free, expect what never was and never will be. No people can be both ignorant and free. It is error alone which needs the support of government. Truth can stand by itself. Commerce with all nations, alliance with none, should be our motto. Pride costs us more than hunger, thirst, and cold. An honest man can feel no pleasure in the exercise of power over his fellow citizens. When governments fear the people, there is liberty. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. The dead should not rule the living. An enemy generally says and believes what he wishes. We are not to expect to be translated from despotism to liberty in a feather bed. I do not take a single newspaper, nor read one a month, and I feel myself infinitely the happier for it. It is reasonable that everyone who asks justice should do justice. Peace and friendship with all mankind is our wisest policy, and I wish we may be permitted to pursue it. I am for freedom of religion, and against all maneuvers to bring about a legal ascendancy of one sect over another. It is more dangerous that even a guilty person should be punished without the forms of law than that he should escape. In questions of power, let no more be heard of confidence in man, but bind him down for mischief by the chains of the Constitution. He who knows best knows how little he knows. Good wine is a necessity of life for me. Where the press is free and every man able to read, all is safe. The greatest service which can be rendered any country is to add a useful plan to its culture. A great deal of love given to a few is better than a little to many. The principle of spending money to be paid by posterity, under the name of funding, is but swindling futurity on a large scale. I have sworn upon the altar of God, eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man.